they didn't
That's
they didn't like that.
Oh, are they trying to shut it down?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So their building was on the beach, and the beach was super segregated. Like, there was like
Hmm.
one small section that was not white.
That's so fucking
So,
stupid. How do
but
you
their property
segregate a
was on the
beach?
beach.
Okay. Were they part of the non-white part?
No, but they
Hmm.
were, it was, anyone could be in front of, like, they were just out there together, and,
Right.
no one could really do anything about it. I don't think it was like law segregated. I think it was just like
Socially.
yeah.
Like, yeah. Oh, okay.
So obviously the people of Santa Monica didn't like that because
Yeah.
first of all, they're racially segregated. That's one thing, but also in their minds, like, you're bringing a bunch of addicts.
Right.
And Chuck would say there are no addicts here because no one is using drugs in this property, which I kind of like because they're not
Right.
using, like, they're completely clean and have been.
Yeah.
um but the local government was like really against them, and like they had a whole campaign, and Chuck even ended up going to jail for 6 months over zoning violations.
What the
Which,
fuck? I'd
how
be so
many
mad.
how many people go to jail for zoning violations? Like,
Right. Yeah.
that's, yeah.
You get a fine. Like, come on.
Yeah, so it was like all kind of a, you know what NIMBY is? Like, not in my backyard.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this
Yeah.
is great, but don't you dare do it here.
Right. I don't want to have to see it, but
Right.
it's good that you're helping people.
Keep them
Right.
out of our space. But
Yeah.
they stayed.
Dang.
I mean, they couldn't really do
Yeah.
anything about it. I think they tried to condemn the building too.
Oh, because it's like old and
Yeah.
whatever.
But like
Hmm.
they were making so much money that they could, or like getting so much money that they could afford lawyers. Like, they fought this stuff.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. And while Chuck was in jail, Betty took over the leadership. Like, she was
Oh,
super
nice.
involved with this.
Yeah. Yeah, because I
Um,
assume the people that were actually there like respected her, right? Even though she's a
yeah.
woman and all that
Yeah.
good stuff. Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's
Well,
awesome.
because they're all, like, it was, they all understood that they were in the same boat, right?
Yeah.
Um, oh, I just had a thought. And, like, around this time also, like, he's hitting the press with it. Like, everyone's saying, "Oh, this is so great! Like, the first ever treatment program." He's talking about how successful it is. Like, there's like
Yeah.
widespread support for this. Like, even up into like national, like, government stuff. Like, everyone's like, "Wow, this is amazing! Like, it's so great."
I mean, that's
Um,
good. That's what happens when you have a marketing person in charge
right,
of things. Yeah.
right. And eventually they made a movie about, well, eventually, like, this was still kind of in the beginning, they made a movie about Synanon that helped get the word out to people, like a movie theater movie. Like, it was
Oh, wow.
distributed across the country, and Eartha Kitt played Betty, which I thought was cute.
Yeah.
And Edmund O'Brien played Chuck. I don't know if that means anything to anyone because I don't know who that is,
Yeah,
but
I have no idea who that is.
I know who Eartha Kitt is.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And like in the beginning, there were no children there.
Mm.
Like, it was just the addicts. Well, you know what I mean. I don't
Yeah,
want the
the
program
ex-addicts.
members. Yeah,
Right,
former
yeah.
addicts. But when Chuck saw like the like emotional toll it was taking on the members to be away from their children, and like the stress
Yeah.
of like, where is my child? Who's taking care of my child? Like,
Right.
where is the kid supposed to go if their only parent is living in this building, right?
Yeah.
So he like allowed the children to start work, like, living there, and the kids would like help out just like everyone else, and would have, like, at one point they had like games for the kids where the kids would scream at each other, which
Oh
was,
shit.
some kids said it was good, but there were other kids who couldn't speak up for themselves. Like,
Yeah.
you
That's
either
so
learned to
hard.
play the game or you just got roasted, and if you can't stand up for yourself, like, there were a lot of kids that had like major emotional problems from this because all they could do is
Right.
sit there, and like other kids didn't want to speak up for them because they would get attacked then. It was like,
Yeah, you kind of need more supervision. I feel like it's okay to vent your stuff, but like you need to sit down with the kids that can't like vocalize their own like pros and stuff. Like you need to explain to them afterwards, like this didn't. I don't know. You need to separate it somehow. Like
yeah, or like
this isn't like real or like it's okay that,
therapy.
yeah, you need something afterwards to break it down so they don't just like actually listen to all of this like negative stuff and just believe that. I mean, as children, I don't think they should be playing this game.
I don't think so
That's
either.
such a developmental like thing cuz
Yeah.
yeah, that would really fuck them up.
Yeah, I know I wouldn't have been able to handle it. I don't think I could handle it now
Right.
as an adult.
I
Like,
feel like I would be crying the whole time
I know,
and
and
just be
just
like, just sit there. I feel like now I would definitely like yell back and be like, that's fucking bullshit. And so, like, I feel like I would be able to now, but that's only like the last couple, like 2 years. I feel
and
like.
like after you leave, even if you stood up for yourself in the moment, like I would probably take it all very personally. As much as I try
Yeah.
not to take things personally, like I would be like, wow, all of these people think these horrible things about me and no one says any, like, there is no now be nice,
Yeah.
except that they do all live in community together, and like a lot of, I think I put this somewhere else, but like it's such a community focus that the people did feel loved by everyone in the community. Like it was, there was this like
Yeah.
agape thing that maybe because everyone gets roasted, then everyone is nice to each other. You know what I mean? It's like no one's special. There is no one singular
Right.
person that everyone gangs up on, and they probably learn to not take it personally because they
Right,
also
and-
get to say whatever they want to say about
Yeah.
people.
And it kind of helps, like, being super honest, like, very candid about everything. Like, you don't feel like you have to hide how you feel then if you have an issue and you could just talk it out. But, like,
Yeah.
for children, that's not gonna work.
Right.
And, like, even, because they do that, I feel like they do that in group therapy where they're, like, they have someone pretend to be the person that you have an issue with so you can, like, talk it out and, like, role play. And even,
Right.
like, when they do that, they usually do like a afterwards for the person that took all the shit to be like, you're not really that person, like blah blah blah. Like they deconstruct it just for the person that was role playing. So if
Right.
you were actually being like, this is actually about you, like that, I don't know, that's still like damaging.
Yeah.
So how big is this place that they could have children there?
It was
Like
like
how many rooms was it?
It was huge. Like
Okay.
a big commercial building.
Oh, okay, like a warehouse kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they like fixed it up into living quarters, but yeah, it was huge.
Gotcha.
And like they eventually created like a little school,
Oh my gosh.
and then it, like towards the end, it had become a big school, and all of the kids were like taken care of communally. Like the kids were everyone's kids. So at first,
Yeah.
when this was fairly small, like the kids felt very loved because there's so many more adults than kids, and everyone knows each other, so it's like more like a tribe.
Right. Yeah, I really like that. I feel like we need more communal living
Yeah.
or like generational living. Like, you used to have your grandparents live with you and stuff and you have the extra support. Like,
Right.
that's nice.
Right. Yeah. And I think, again, they had people on there who grew up in there as like little children, and they said that the way that they grew up was very Like, they loved it. And they were with their parents, too. Like, it wasn't...
Right.
But, I mean, it didn't always stay like that, and we'll get to that. But, some... Like, the school got really big, and some of the kids that were in this school weren't even... Like, their parents weren't even members. Oh. It was just the parents signed them up for this school because they liked the concept of Synanon. And, like one of the people on there, his dad was, like, a jazz musician, and he was gone all the time, and an only parent. So he just said, okay, well, these kids are so loved, like, let me put my kid in there, too. And all of these people are taking care of him, and I'll go visit him, like, once a month, but someone is caring for him, even if it's not me.
Right, like a boarding school.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's basically a public school then at that point. Like, I can't believe, or a private school, I guess. I can't believe they allowed people to enroll.
This was the 60s.
I guess.
And that was, like, way later on, and we'll, like, get into some other stuff, but I put all the school stuff and kid stuff together.
Yeah.
But eventually the school was, like, a whole separate thing, and the kids were allowed to, like, learn whatever they wanted to learn, however they wanted to learn it. Like, it was very follow your interest and just we'll make it happen. Like, if you want to learn how to paint, let's paint until you're bored of it, and then let's do something else. And if you're passionate about this, you can do that. And they didn't have homework. I mean, it really wasn't like a school, I guess. I mean, aren't there schools like that now?
Yeah, I don't, like, well, isn't it kind of like Montessori? But
yeah, I was thinking it is kind of like Montessori. And I think there's a college that you can go to that's like that, where there are no programs. You just show up. Like, no grades, no programs. You show up, you learn what you want, and then you leave. And I doubt you get a degree, but it's just kind of like a do as you would like to do.
Yeah, that'd be fun now, like, as a professional.
Like,
show up and not as a actual college student.
But just, like, for fun. Yeah, like, if you were, like, a stay-at-home mom, or, like, you didn't have to work, like, you could just go learn whatever you wanted to learn, however you wanted to learn it.
Retirees and stuff.
But towards, like, the end of Synanon, which I feel like we can assume that things go south because we're doing an episode on it, but they, like, started separating kids from their parents, which was kind of fucked up. Like, because there were eventually there were multiple locations. I really should have organized this better, but there were multiple locations, and the kids would go to school in one location, the parents would be sent to another one, and there wasn't really much they could do about it. And I think the parents were like, well, like, they're in good hands, but there were a lot of kids that weren't being, like, cared for in a loving way. Like, when the parent's gone, now who's your person?
Right. Who do you go to and stuff?
Yeah, that's problematic. Yeah, I mean, that was towards the end, which I should have just put that towards the end, but I didn't. It's here, so.
Explain.
And, like I kind of said, like, from what I can tell, especially in the early days, it was a really great place to live. They had dances, and, like, everyone loved each other, and it was a very, like, community-based living situation. Like, agape love, I guess. But yeah, that was how it was in the beginning. And at the time, mental health was becoming, like, a more important thing. Like, it was starting to become a conversation that people were having. And psychiatrists came in and studied the Synanon games, and it, like, had, like, a huge impact on psychology for the future, because this was, like, a therapy method that was working, which is probably, you had talked about the role-playing therapy. I'm sure that, like, kind of started that.
Right, yeah, it probably stemmed from that. And now they have better methods of afterwards, like,
Right.
deconstructing it. Yeah.
Because I don't think at the time there was anyone saying feel your feelings